the White House is reportedly exploring plans to host a series of summits on race, including prominent athletes and, of course, Kanye West. Cleveland pastor Darrell Scott, who serves on the board of the National Diversity Coalition for Trump, told Politico that the idea received a boost after Kanye West and President Trump spent much of the past week praising each other. Scott says that plans for the summits are still in the early stages, but that he's confident they'll happen. This comes as Kanye West is facing intense criticism for his comments about slavery in an interview with TMZ Live on Tuesday.
You hear about slavery for 400 years. For 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all? You know, like, it's like we're mentally in prison.
Do you feel that I'm feeling, do you feel that I'm being free and I'm thinking free?
I actually don't think you're thinking anything.
TMZ writer Van Lathan went on with his criticism of West, saying his platform shields him from the real-life consequences of his words. In a series of now-deleted tweets, Kanye responded, saying that he knows slaves were not brought to the United States by free will, but that his point was that the slaves were mentally enslaved for staying in that position, and that his statement was just an example of the free thought you heard him mention in the TMZ clip. West rounded out the tweet storm, saying that once again he's being attacked for presenting new ideas. Joining me now to discuss the reaction to Kanye's comments is Danielle Young. Danielle is a writer and producer for The Root. Danielle, welcome.
Thank you.
So much to dissect here.
My goodness.
Let me start with this. In response to what West said on TMZ, the hashtag IfSlaveryWasAChoice began trending on Twitter. And we have some of those tweets that we're looking at now, including yours in these graphics. Explain for us what the response was like online.
The response was immediate. That's the one thing that you can count on, especially for Black Twitter, is that we grab something and we go with it.
What's Black Twitter?
Black Twitter is the unstoppable force that exists on Twitter that consists of all Black people everywhere, every walk of life, that we take on everything. Social justice issues. We've gotten people fired for being racist. We have, call to action, mute R. Kelly, if you've seen that this week. There are so many things that it is responsible for, but at the crux of it is humor.
And that's what we saw in these responses.
And that's what we saw in these responses,
so,
yeah.
Kanye West has been the talk of the internet for a week and a half now. What do you think in terms of the larger impact here, beyond just Black Twitter? What's the impact of his words?
Kanye knows that he has this platform. Whether or not he knows that he has the impact that he has is yet to be seen. We've seen his celebrity friends like John Legend tell him, this is bigger than you. He doesn't understand the poison that he's spitting out. And to reduce slavery to 400 years of people just being complacent and saying, I guess I don't want to try to get out of this today, it's misinformed. His idea of free thinking, and he latches on to Candace Owens, who is a political commentator who has some very unsavory opinions around Black people and how we use racism as a vehicle to push forward a narrative that isn't true, is also someone who is poisonous. So for him to praise her, praise Trump, and to say that slavery is a choice and all the other things that he said around race, it's impossible to believe that someone who just said years ago that George Bush doesn't care about Black people could come around and say things like this and support someone like Trump.
So to push back just a little bit, what would you say to supporters of Kanye who might look at that and say, well, people change their minds, people change their views and are entitled to do that, that they reserve that right to do that? What would you say? And to the people who also say, look, now we're discussing these things, and isn't that an important thing in our society?
Yeah, but at what cost? We can discuss slavery and we can discuss the impact that it's had on America and continues to have in a well-informed way. There's people like Mark Lamont Hill and Van Lathan himself who have a platform and discuss these things at any time. But to discuss it with such a negative and such a misinformed way, that is irresponsible. You have children that are looking up to Kanye and see this conversation, and now they're asking their parents, well, why didn't they fight back in these 400 years, which negates the fact that rebellions happened, which negates the fact that Harriet Tubman exists, Sojourner Truth exists, and the others like them that we may not even know about from history. It negates all of that. It negates the fact that we have been resilient and that we have worked hard to build this country. And it's irresponsible. So I'm not sure if you could latch on to that and take it into a positive route of saying, at least we're having the conversation. This is the wrong way to have the conversation.
Well, Danielle, let me go to this notion of these White House summits. We'll see if they actually happen.
Right.
But what about this idea of bringing in African Americans into a room, including Kanye West, along with the president, to sit down and have frank discussions about race?
I wish that it could all be wrapped up into a bow like that, and that this would be the time and the vehicle to draw into the White House that we need to talk about, blackness in America. But this isn't the right vehicle for that. We have had so long, we've watched this president of ours for so long push rhetoric that frankly is a little racist. You remember when he asked April Ryan, a White House reporter, if she knew and could set up the meeting with the CBC. So here we are dealing with someone who doesn't even know enough about black people in politics to say, like, I can set this meeting up because I'm president.
But for those who say this could be a teachable moment, you say?
Not this kind of teacher. He's a substitute teacher at best.
You're talking about Kanye West?
Kanye West is no educator the way that his mother was. God rest her soul. It's a teachable moment for him to know that his platform is much larger than he thinks it is, and that the things that he says need to be formulated before pushed out. Because you come up with these type of hot button topics, and to me, I would hate to say that this feels like a publicity stunt, but it does. We're dealing with the house of the Kardashian Jenners. These are people that are very salacious and have made their fame on that. So maybe he's getting, put it in his ear from Kris Jenner, like, you need to sell these albums. It would be the tackiest way to promote, but I don't think that he is treating this as a teachable moment. He's not taking it in, from especially the things that Van Lathan said that pretty much all of us feel. I don't know if he's taking it in.
Well, we are going to continue, of course, to watch and see how else this story develops. Danielle Young of The Root, thank you so much,
Yes,
Danielle,
thank
for your
you.
perspective.